Hey guys, welcome to 12 Tone. Today we're going to talk about minor. Now we've already discussed minor harmony a little bit, but our focus has been on chord functions in major scales, and there are some important concerns to keep in mind when writing in minor that we haven't covered yet. First, I want to take some time to talk about the relationships between major and minor. The first of those is what's called a relative relationship. For instance, let's take a look at E flat major and C minor. If we look at E flat major, we see three accidentals. We have a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat. Now let's take a look at C minor. You'll notice over here that we also have a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat. In fact, the notes of C minor are exactly the same as the notes in E flat major. This means the two keys will have the same key signature, in this case, 3 flats. Every major scale has one relative minor and vice versa. These are fairly easy to find if you know where to look. For instance, if we go back to our example, you'll see that C minor begins on the 6th degree of E flat major, while E flat major begins on the flat 3rd degree of C minor. This same position will be true in every relative relationship. But there may be an even more obvious relationship than relative major and minor. That, of course, is the relationship between a major and a minor key with the same tonic. We call this a parallel relationship because they start and end at the same points. Now, parallel major and minor have different key signatures. As we mentioned way back in the introductory scales video, a minor key can be thought of as a major key with a flat 3rd, 6th, and 7th degrees. So these parallel modes aren't actually that similar. Setting aside the tonic, half of the notes in the scale are different. But because they have the same foundation, they still wind up feeling very related. In fact, there's a whole area of harmony called modal interchange involving borrowing chords from parallel modes, which we'll get into more later down the road. But enough about the relationships. Minor has a serious problem. Dominant function, as we mentioned previously, depends almost entirely on the half-step motion from the 7th degree to the tonic. In natural minor, we have a minor 7th, which means that we have no leading tone. This means that dominant function, which is really the most important of the chord functions, does not exist in natural minor. The scale may sound good melodically, but we have a huge harmonic problem. I'm sure there's many ways to go about fixing this problem, but the musical community thankfully settled on the simplest. We just jammed a major 7th in there, creating what we call harmonic minor. This solves our problem quickly and bluntly by just giving us back the leading tone. However, it does create some other problems once you look past the dominant function chords. The raised 7th gives us some weird chords like the flat 3 augmented or the unbelievably harsh 1 minor major 7. Well, as always, you may want that sound sometimes. Most of the time, what we do is switch back and forth freely between natural and harmonic minor, depending on whether we need the leading tone right now. And harmonic minor gives us a different issue too. We've solved our harmony problem, but in doing so we've sort of introduced a melodic issue. Look at that gap between the flat 6th and the 7. That's a minor 3rd, and we generally like our scales to go by steps. So what musicians did is double down on the harmonic minor concept, creating what we call melodic minor. This is harmonic minor with a raised 6th as well. It can also be looked at as a major scale with just a flat 3rd. This allows us to have smooth melodic options throughout the scale while keeping the leading tone. Now, depending on who you ask, melodic minor can get kind of complicated. In many musical schools of thought, melodic minor is viewed as different ascending and descending. In these cases, while ascending, we use the major 6th and 7th, but descending, we revert to natural minor with the flat 6th and 7th. This gives us a smooth rise with the leading tone, and then a smooth fall back down with the minor intervals. However, you'll also see plenty of people using the major interval version both ascending and descending, so feel free to use whichever suits your needs. Well, that's minor. By the way, each of these episodes is accompanied by a set of practice exercises to help you try out the concepts. You can find the links in the descriptions, and as always, keep on rockin'.